Good evening and welcome to the 7 p.m. broadcast. I'm Aisha Sindhu. The new year is expected to bring some good news for employees in various sectors. If a new report is to be believed, India Incorporated is promising better pay hikes of 10 to 15% for the right talent in 2018. The report comes as a breather after what was a challenging year for the job market, stunned by post-demonetization layoffs in traditional sectors like textiles, and of course due to the advent of artificial intelligence in new age ones. The catch, though, is the term right talent, which HR experts broadly define as those people who are able to reskill themselves as per the changing work profile requirements. Now, experts hope that the recruitment landscape recovery will continue and that companies in mobile manufacturing, fintech and startups, among others, may hire the most in 2018. Now, businesses in almost all sectors, notably financial services, retail and e-commerce and media and entertainment, are looking to hire talent at an even faster pace. The average hike was 8 to 10% in 2017 across the sectors, which should grow to 10 to 12% in 2018. Now, employees in the IT sector can expect average appraisals of 8%, e-commerce and startups of 15%, pharma and life sciences, as also FMCG and consumer goods of 8 to 15%, and ITES at 10 to 15%. As of 2017, the layoffs were huge for industries like information technology, telecom, manufacturing, engineering, and of course banking sectors. Several corporates adopted a wait-and-watch approach, and the negative hiring sentiment lasted until at least September this year. Joining me this evening is Mohan Guruswamy, the head for Centre for Policy Alternatives. He's in from New Delhi. Also with me is Dr. Santosh Mehrotra. He's an economist joining us on the discussion. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you both for being with us here on the program. Let me go across to Mohan Guruswamy first. So is this reported rebound only natural after the demonetization scenario and the layoffs thereof?
Absolutely. We probably hit the bottom of the curve in the last quarter, and I think we're going to be reviving and going upwards. And the mood is going to change also, and it has begun to change already. People are talking of hiring now. And so, there would be rewards for existing employees who stuck through the difficult time, and there would also be new jobs coming in. IT sector is expected to grow again, with the US growing at 2.4%, and so everything looks optimistic. The thing is that what demonetization did was to slow down something which was already on the upward trajectory and brought us down by 2%. But that we'll have to pick up again, and we will pick up. And I think there's optimism. There's optimism in the market. People are making investments. People are planning for the future. And this whole thing is a mood thing. You got to feel good that that the investment is going to pay off and your capital is going to grow, and so I think overall we should be looking for more jobs.
All right, Dr. Mehrotra, is the operative part of this report, though, emphasis on the right talent getting hikes?
Well, you see, the problem is that jobs have not been growing for the last 4 or 5 years, and it is not as though suddenly there will be a great uptick in hiring. Yes, there's going to be a minor uptick, which is what this report is suggesting, but with a minor uptick, obviously the competition is going to get even fiercer, point one. And point two, if salaries do rise, I think the report is suggesting that salaries will rise only marginally. So this is all very consistent with the fact that while growth may be reviving somewhat, it doesn't automatically convert into job growth.
Fair enough. In fact, that was my next question. Mr. Guruswamy, that one's for you. The hikes, of course, are making most people, including myself, rather happy. The idea of even 8 to 10%, 10 to 15% in certain sectors. But will that come at the cost of hiring? Is retaining talent going to be more important than perhaps hiring new talent? And in that case, is unemployment going to persist as a problem?
No, you see, there is going to be hiring of new talent also, because the market is going to grow as a whole. Of course, the salary increases in India are projected to be the highest in the world. I just was seeing another report today saying that it will be right on top. So I think our salaries are low. So obviously, any growth will show up as much higher. But we're starting from a smaller base. But I think the economy is beginning to move. Investment trends are showing that there could be more capital investment. And there's more optimism now. You can't be in a depressed mood for more than a year. We've been in a depressed mood for a year now, 13 months now. And I think we're getting over it. And we will get over it, and then the economy will start picking up. So I have no doubts that there'll be more jobs. The automobile sector is already picking up. The IT sector is going to pick up. The telecom is going to pick up. The shock administered by entry of Jio, which dropped the revenues down, scared everybody up. And I think after the market share figures are coming in, the two big players will start moving again. And I think there'll be more hiring, and so there'll be more telephones being sold and more infrastructure being built. So I think I am not feeling pessimistic now.
I'm glad to hear that. And
unless we make some other mistake in the future, like demonetization.
Well, let's hope not. I think we passed that November deadline on any drastic announcement as far as demonetization kind of things go. Let me go across to Dr. Mehrotra. Dr. Mehrotra, there was also this reference to artificial intelligence in this report. And I was just wondering, for the layperson, though, this report of artificial intelligence taking away jobs from humans, as far as an economy like India goes, is that a rather far-off scenario, though?
Yes, it is. I think this kind of talk has been going on for a while, and this is being, led by people who don't really understand the dynamics. Please remember that artificial intelligence, robotics, automation is particularly attractive in economies where wage rates are very high and salaries are very high. And social protection costs are high. Cost to company is high of hiring people. That's not the case in India. And so you can't on the one hand say, oh, there is already reasonably capital intensive industry in place and jobs are not getting created, and then suddenly say, oh, automation is going to come along and destroy jobs. You see, the point is, Industry 4.0 is going to be adopted slowly over a long period of time, and there will be time to adjust in the following sense that, if some jobs are going to be lost, new jobs are going to be created. That has been the history of every industrial revolution. Industrial Revolution 1, 2, 3 over the last 200 years. So Industry 4.0 is not going to be any different. Even though the pace of change might be faster, it will not be so fast in an economy like India.
All right, and I think the media has...
It might be in Germany, in the United States, in Korea,
but perhaps not in India. And I think the media does have a part to play as far as that hype of robots taking over jobs goes. Dr. Mehrotra, as a follow-up, though, to that question,
correct.
In terms of changing business models, do you think the stress is now going to be on prospective employees sort of keeping up with trends rather than employers?
No, well, employers first have to create the jobs for employees to be in demand, first of all. Secondly, you're right that certainly in certain industries, employees need to be on the lookout as to what are the areas of expertise in which jobs are likely to decline and areas of expertise in which jobs might grow. So clearly, and these are all high-end jobs. We are talking about organized sector, relatively capital-intensive industries, and not the mass of the sort of manufacturing or the mass of services, which remains in our country, thankfully, still relatively, labor-intensive, or at least it needs to be more labor-intensive. Otherwise, we will not be able to provide the jobs to the 2.5 million young people who are joining the labor force every year. And by the way, it's not 12 million people looking for work every year, which is what also the media has been spreading for the last 10 years. We have not added more than 2 million young people to the labor force ever since 2004-05.
All right.
Per annum.
All right, I'll take that on the chin. Let me go across to Mohan Guruswamy. Do you perceive, sir, also that temp staffing, flexible work hours, these kind of situations are also going to be on the uptick, given that the entire working system, at least in urban India, is changing drastically? And what sort of impact do you think that's going to have on the Indian economy, both in terms of short-term and long-term scenarios?
Well, I think it's already happening in the IT sector. You see flexible hours, people working from home increasingly. So, that's bound to expand. And with the urban chaos, moving to workplaces is going to be more difficult. So, it will encourage some kind of, work at home, come at different hours, don't be on the road at peak hours, that kind of a movement. So, that is bound to come. It's bound to come as, and as highly skilled workers, particularly in the IT sector, become difficult to come by, then you will have to accommodate the employees rather than the employees accommodating the employer. So we'll see all that. We'll see all that is happening in the West. It'll happen here. It's already. I see a lot of people now working from their homes, and that will increase. But it will not happen in the factory sector. Maybe shifts might change a bit in hours to take them. You must stagger them off in different hours in the industrial sector, industrial area, but that is yet to be seen.
All right, I've got time for one last reaction from both of you. Mr. Guruswamy, to you first. As far as sentiment goes, when it comes to trends both domestically and internationally, we're seeing, of course, all kinds of headlines following the Jerusalem decision. Is that a factor that also needs to be kept in mind when we're looking at reports such as these and looking at the entire sentiment when it comes to India's economy and as far as, prospective employers and employees go? In the organized job market?
We see the United States is the engine of world economic growth. Like it or no, it's going to be that way for some more decades. And if it's growing at 2.4, which is a very high rate for a large economy like that, then it's good for all of us. And if the United States keeps posting its huge trade deficits every year, then it's even better for us. And there's no sign that is going to reduce. I think overall prospects for export-oriented industries, IT, for our own consumption, our own markets are growing. There's a level of prosperity in the economy. There's a certain trajectory we are moving on. And so I think things are going to get better.
All right. Would you agree, Dr. Mehrotra?
Broadly, yes. I mean, there is a certain uptick in the European as well as the American markets. But I think our own strategy must be to expand consumption and make for India is absolutely critical. No one is contending that exports should be leveling off. Exports are beginning to pick up. So we need to focus a little bit more on labor-intensive exports. Unfortunately, most of our exports tend to be relatively capital-intensive, and that's not necessarily an area where we have a comparative advantage. We have a comparative advantage in vast amounts of labor, which is relatively cheap, and the labor-intensive exports, whether it's exports or for the domestic market, the labor-intensive manufacturers that need to grow and can generate jobs are leather and footwear, apparel and garments, textiles, wood and furniture, and food processing. And the more we are able to focus government energies in these 5 sectors which are labor-intensive manufacturing, the more jobs will grow in manufacturing.
All right, we'll leave it at that, gentlemen. All I can say is that I'm looking at my KRAs and mid-year review with renewed vigor following that report. Thank you both, Mohan Guruswamy and, of course, Dr. Mehrotra. Appreciate you both taking out the time to speak with us this evening.